So this video just goes over using the order of operations with fractions questions. So again, remember order of operations, you do, if there's brackets, you do that first. If there's exponents, you would do that next. And then you would divide and multiply in the next order, but you would do it in the order that they occur from left to right. And then finally, you would end with adding and subtracting again in the order that they occur from left to right. So again, a really common mistake with order of operations, if we look at this first example, would be just to work from left to right. So to add first and then multiply second. So be very careful with that. Following the order of operations, you want to multiply those two fractions here together first. So we're just going to keep the 2/3 and rewrite it because we're not going to be using it just yet, but it's still part of the question. We want to make sure it stays in line. And then we're going to do this multiplication. And so 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 5 is 10. At this point, now we look to get a common denominator. And in this case, the lowest common multiple between 3 and 10 is 30. And remember, whatever you did to the bottom number, so in this case, 3 times 10, so 2 times 10, that becomes 20. 10 times 3 and 1 times 3 becomes 3. And then you're just going to add. You'll end up with 23 over 30. You would look to see if you could simplify, but in this case you can't, so then you would leave your answer as 23 over 30. So again, really important that you multiply before you add. So don't just work from left to right. Make sure you are following the order of operations. So again, in the example on the example B, there's a set of brackets. And so we're going to do what's inside the brackets first. Everything else we're just going to write as is. So to get what's inside the brackets first, we're going to get a common denominator. In this case, it will be 6. And we'll end up with 3 over 6. Now, in this case, if you wanted to, you could simplify that, or you can go straight to multiplying by the reciprocal. And it doesn't really matter which one you would do first. It's kind of a personal preference. Again, if you want, you could cancel things. So for example, that can cancel and that can cancel, and you'll be left with 3 or 3 over 1, but remember we would leave 3 over 1, we would write that as 3, and that would be your final answer. Again, I'll show you if you wanted to simplify first, you would end up with 3 over 2 divided by 1/2, and then you would multiply by the reciprocal, and you could cancel, or you could just multiply straight across, and then simplify that to 3. So that would also work. It's all just depending on your own personal preference as to the order that you use.